Hey, babe.
Yeah? Oh.
Thought maybe tonight we would answer some of those questions some of our BDA family have been asking us.
Oh.
You just finishing up there?
That's good. Yeah, I gotta do stories. This is our bedtime routine. And then we can do dishes, but yeah, we could have like our little date night.
I put those big stickers up.
Yes, you have your stickers up.
Yep.
And then, do you know what kind of questions they're gonna ask?
We have about 10 questions that they ask us, everything from budget to where we go to the doctor. So.
Oh, I can do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna do our bedtime routine and do a little dishes, unless you want to do the dishes.
I'll do the dishes. I'll be ready for you when you finish your story time.
Okay, great.
All right.
And then we have to. What do we do after the books? After we read the story books, what comes next? What comes next? What do we do afterwards? Do we say our prayers?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Mommy.
I love you too.
All right.
You're silly.
See you in a minute.
Hi, we are Sherryl and John. We sold our home and business in March 2020 and set out to live life differently, traveling the country in an RV with our twin daughters, Brighton and Daisy. We believe the best days are always ahead of us, even in good times. Thank you for joining us as we inspire others to seek the bright days ahead. Hi BDA family, it's Sherryl and
John.
And we are gonna do a question and answer. We've had a couple people write in questions. We did a travel trivia where we asked you to ask us questions. And then just simply when we go visit people or when we meet people, I think they have a lot of questions for us. We just saw an aunt and she sat down and said, I have so many questions for you. So let's answer a few.
So I have them here on my phone, which is why I'm wearing my glasses tonight. So the first one's very simple. Sherryl, hopefully you can answer this one. Why are we doing this?
Well, that's a good question. I think it just came out of a little inspiration. So we were sitting with your parents in September of 2019 on our back porch. We lived in Overland Park, Kansas, and they were kind of complaining that their kids had kind of gotten spread out and it was taking a lot to visit them. And we suggested to them, why don't you're retired, and why don't you get an RV and just kind of live with a little bit of them each time and go visit everybody? And they kind of said, no, we're not into it. And then you said,
yeah, why don't we do it?
Why don't, I'd love to do it. And then I kind of looked at him and he looked at me and we had an aha moment.
Yeah, we were in the Kansas City metro area with no family, really good friends in our neighborhood. But
we
no family.
loved Kansas. We're not leaving Kansas because we didn't like it. We had great family.
Loved it there.
Beautiful house. I loved our house.
Yeah, but we have family in Detroit, my daughter. And my second oldest daughter, Caroline, lives in the Atlanta area. And then Cheryl's family's in New Mexico. And mine's in Indiana. And I have a sister in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Another one in Florida.
So we're kind of all over the place. And
we've lived a bunch of places. We'd both lived in California.
So we figured
Detroit. And
we watched a few people on YouTube.
That's when we found KOAD. We thought we were an original, we had invented something.
We're not the original.
We're not the original.
So we sold everything, sold our business, and
sold our house, our business.
Went to
a lot of our stuff.
Went to Florida, bought this solitude at Lazy Days, and hit the road. Now we've gone 25 states.
But that didn't really answer the why. I think the why was...
Why are we doing this? We want to live life differently.
We wanted to live life a little differently. I think we were kind of getting caught up with the Joneses. And I think we were getting caught up in even just a little bit of the 9-to-5 grind. And we had young children. So we're old parents, or I'm specifically an old mom. I didn't have the girls until I was nearly 40.
I'm a really old dad. I'll be 72 when they graduate high school. So
do it again, Dad.
So let's do it now instead of waiting.
Yes, I have bad knees and I want to do it before my knees completely give out. But we just wanted to really, I think you wanted to raise them where you got to spend a lot of time with them, and I knew I wanted to because I'd worked a lot as a career, and that's what we wanted to do is show them more family and friends and just live life differently. And I think that's what we're trying to do is inspire others. Is whether you don't have to buy an RV, but whether it's you have dinner every night with them or take those trips or just cut one thing out so you can do more things together. And that's what we're trying to do.
And I was tired of mowing grass and blowing snow.
That's true too.
I haven't done that for a year and a half and it's been wonderful.
Yeah. But that brings us to the question, hey, how long are we going to do this? Or Nana's favorite question, when are we going to settle down?
My mother always asks, when are you going to settle down? And right now we've been doing this almost a year and a half, and I don't see us settling down anytime soon because I would like to see all 48 states, the lower 48, And
we're at 25 states now.
25, and we haven't done the Northeast, and that'll probably be next year in 2022.
Right. We had set out, I think we said 2 years. Let's give it 2 years, because 1 year is really fast. It seems really long, but it's really fast when you're moving.
Yeah.
And then we noticed just the route and a little bit of COVID and things happened that we really would need 3 years at least to see the 48.
Yeah, and by that time the girls will be
going
officially kind of first grade.
Going into kindergarten or first grade, yeah.
So I think we're not ready to settle down yet.
And so to answer that question, I think we're enjoying it right now, and as long as we're enjoying it.
Yeah, okay.
And it's also going to be a God thing. I think to get on the road, we were given a lot of signs. I think we prayed about it and we went to church about it, and I think we'll continue to do that. And
yeah,
that'll tell us when to come off the road.
So far, so good. Don't see any time soon that we'll settle down. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
But we'll see you in Florida all winter, because that's where we winter, in Florida.
Yeah.
And
well, that is a good question, because a lot of our family asked this, and a lot of friends. And your birthday's coming up on Sunday.
True.
So everyone wants to know, how do we get mail? Like, we winter in Florida, so how do we get our mail?
And Cheryl, you always get the mail, so I'll let you answer it.
Well, we did sign up with a service called Escapees, and there's a lot of other services out there. I think American Mail is one, and I can't speak to any of those except for Escapees. But Escapees is not only like an RV club of a like-minded community, and they've been around since the 70s, but they also figured out a way to help RVers set up domicile. So when we moved from Kansas, we didn't have a place, so you have to have a place. So they help you set up a permanent address, and you can do it in one of 3 states. You can do it any state, but Escapees helps you in one of 3 states: South Dakota, Texas, or Florida. So we chose Florida just because we knew we'd be wintering there. And then along with your permanent address, they give you like a mailing box address. And then all our mail goes to the mailing box, and then they forward it when I just press a button and ask them to forward it to here. Like we just got your birthday cards here.
And they scan it every day, so we can see what mail we're getting.
That's true. They scan it every day, and then we can say, hey, open that envelope. So they could have opened your birthday card.
We didn't want that because Mom put a gift card in there, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure. We don't know yet because we haven't opened it. And then you can tell them to disregard it, or you can have it forwarded on. So it's a really great program.
Yeah, it works out well. We domicile in Florida, so we have an address there. We've never actually been to it, but it's for paying taxes, for voting, those kinds of things. And Florida, being an state income tax-free state, it's a good state to select, because you all know your biggest expense in life is taxes, and if you can eliminate state income taxes, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
So, the next question, kind of silly. Will John sing more in the videos?
Well, I can't answer that because you know what my opinion is.
I really don't like singing. I did a TikTok video where I was dancing, so be sure we'll put a link down below.
In case you don't know,
we'll show it.
John has an amazing singing voice, and his plethora of fans beg you to sing more. So if you want him to sing, please comment or give us a thumbs up.
All right. Okay, this one comes up all the time.
Your favorite places that we've been.
Favorite place to visit so far?
So far.
Cheryl?
Well, I think both of ours was kind of the Grand Tetons.
My favorite is my in-laws' house. I love going to see my in-laws.
You stole my answer.
In Santa Fe. I love being there. So
you saw what I was
Bill
writing.
and Pam, my favorite place to go. What's your favorite place besides my mom and dad's house?
Your mom and dad's house, Terre Haute, Indiana.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, my favorite place has been the Grand Tetons. I thought it was majestic and beautiful, and I don't know, there was a scene where we sat down on that, I think it was Jenny Lake or Jackson Lake, and it had like the girls sitting on the beach, and then it had the mountains and the sunshine. It kind of looked like our logo.
It looked just like our logo, which was beautiful.
What was your favorite place?
My favorite place was probably South Dakota, the Black Hills.
The Custer State Park. You really
Custer
liked.
State Park, Black Hills, Mount Rushmore. That whole area I really loved. South Dakota. I loved Key West, Florida.
We did. The Keys.
But
that was amazing.
I think picking on one place, now that I start thinking, is probably difficult to do, because
if we can't pick a place to live, can we pick a favorite? But I think the in-between, even though you still might answer, I think the in-between moments when we're not necessarily at most of the majestic, I think spending time with family and friends that we've gotten to see has been some of the best memories.
Cheryl has friends all over the country.
He calls them my random friends.
Random friends. So just about everywhere we stop, Unfortunately, not here in Nevada. No one here so far. But typically, wherever we are, Sherryl has friend or family, and that's really the highlight. It's the people. It's not really the place. So that answers that question. Here's one for me.
How do you see doctors or handle like health insurance?
Insurance. So luckily, as a retiree of Ford Motor Company, I have health insurance until I turn 65. So it's through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. So that's taken just about everywhere we go. So whenever we have something happen, whether it's just a regular physical or an emergency, like when Daisy cut her lip in Texas,
we went
it's
to
handled through Blue Cross Blue Shield of
Children's
Michigan.
Urgent Care.
Yeah. So that's our insurance. It's not free. It costs us, part of our budget is to pay for that monthly, but it's a good price, and it's great insurance, and that'll last us until I turn 65. All of our prescriptions are through CVS, so wherever we are, we have that prescription forwarded. So
we move around constantly.
I have meloxicam for my knees, and
yeah. So once a month we call and we forward it to pick it up. Like
so wherever we are,
CVS is great. They'll text you when it's ready. It doesn't matter where, and then you can just forward it to where we are.
Yeah.
And then I would say, not just for CVS, this isn't a CVS commercial, but the Minute Clinics, I think CVS has some, and Walgreens. That's really great for basic care, like if you have a cold or something like, I don't know.
Allergy, whatever.
Right, allergies or something.
Those are
great
good
to go into.
But we do winter in Florida, 3 months. So that is where we try to have regular doctor visits.
We established ourselves this winter. So we went and saw the doctor all before we left, and then we established doctor care in Florida. So that's where we'll have like pediatrician checkups.
As a reminder, we have to establish a dentist there because we've been randomly stopping at dentists across the country to get our teeth cleaned. It's like every 6 months. But we need to establish someone there in Florida. So put that on our checklist.
Put that on our checklist, yeah.
So
and then teledoc. We've done teledoc before.
Blue Cross Blue Shield has a service where you call in and they kind of FaceTime you, and that's when we showed them Daisy's cut on her lip, whether it required a stitch or not. So
or our own doctor, we've teledoced, and he was like, "Hey, let's do a physical," and he's in Kansas, and he had us go get blood work, and I think we were in Knoxville, and we just went to a LabCorp. And
so we go to a LabCorp to get that.
And then he just had a teleconversation with us, so it was kind of weird that he took your pulse over the phone.
Yeah, I held my phone to my...
No, he didn't do that.
All right, so let's ask the next one. What does a normal day look like? Where do you go to grocery stores, and how do you get your food, and what do you do? Sherryl, you do all that, so...
Well,
Sherryl would like to go to TraderJoes at every location, but unfortunately they're not at every location.
Yes, TraderJoes, if you're listening, can you please put more locations in random small towns? I was not a big Walmart shopper before. I do not like Walmart. Nothing against it. It just wasn't in a lot I didn't grow up with it.
It's not our preferred location to grocery shop, but
I tell you what, it's the most convenient.
There's always a Walmart.
There's always a Walmart. It's the most convenient, and now they have the Walmart pickup, and so like I can even go on like a day or two before and say pick up and what we need, and so it's been really easy. Like it's consistent. There's only 2 or 3 Walmarts floor plans out there, so every town has a Walmart, and then you're spending less time getting to know a grocery store. But if you go in a Safeway and then an Albertsons and a King Super or something, those are all different, and that's really stressful.
Walmart's floor plan is typically the same, so you kind of know what you're doing when you're in
the same brands, and so that's been really easy. But little things like you go to, how do you get your hair done? It's easy.
My hair done at Great Clips. I get this.
I feel like we're a commercial for everything.
Beautiful haircut, because there they have a system where they kind of know the way I want it cut. It's in the app. When I go in there, no matter if I'm in Albuquerque or Indianapolis or Orlando, they kind of know what my cut is, which is not anything amazing, but at least it's somewhat consistency in this inconsistent world that we live in RV life. So, and
then we kind of did that with the dog, right?
Yeah, the dog. Sherryl did a little video with him, so I'll make sure we put that in here. But he goes to PetSmart. Presley goes to PetSmart. Same reason I go to Great Clips, because
they know him now.
They know his cut, and we can schedule it ahead of time because
they have an app.
Scheduling groomers at little towns is difficult because you get into places where they are backlogged by 6-8 weeks and you just can't get them in. So this way, if we know we're going to be in the Seattle area in 3 weeks, and he needs a haircut, we'll go ahead and schedule there at PetSmart.
Which does not solve my problem. I cannot find a great app or service out there for women's haircut with a fro. But you know, everybody says Presley and I look alike, so I'm thinking maybe we could start having me go to PetSmart. We should go to PetSmart.
I shouldn't say anything.
You shouldn't. Don't say anything. Don't say
Let
anything.
that go.
But I'm thinking, unfortunately, this is a bottle dye, and if any of you have a really great solution for women getting haircuts, other than calling ahead 8 weeks to some random town.
Yeah, your haircuts I know that's been frustrating for you. So, and the girls really haven't got their haircut yet. So.
No, they have natural curly hair like me. It just takes forever to grow, so we haven't cut their hair yet.
So this is another frustrating part of our routine every day, is how do you plan campgrounds, where we're going to go, how do you reserve them, how do you do that?
Yeah,
I don't do that at all. I just drive.
You would be lost.
She kind of tells me where to go, so
we make a good team because you would be lost.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't know how to drive.
Scheduling campgrounds is not easy.
It is not easy, and it's not like you can go on a kayak or hotels.com service. So there are lots of apps out there, and I'm sure there's a lot of RVers that rep them. And actually, anything that we mentioned today, we do not rep for, and we're not ambassadors. It's just things that we use. So one of the tools that I use is RV Trip Wizard, and I found it. I've used a few of them, but I find it to be the most cohesive as far as campground reviews, and it has the most campgrounds loaded. It doesn't have a lot, so sometimes you have to use another resource for some of the campgrounds. But then it also gives you some other tools to use, like the map and directions and RV GPS to go there. So as far as physically going space to space, and you kind of say like, okay, we want to go this way, and you just start calling. But the problem is you get your heart set on it, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to this campground, and it's booked or full, or it can only do 4 days. So you really have to stay flexible and kind of get a feel, and it's just a great big puzzle. And so you call this one, and you have to start planning. And that takes a lot of planning. So then after that, when we do our go areas, I try to put together, we talk about, hey, what do you want to do in this area? And put together a little bit of an agenda, but we remain flexible because we have 4-year-olds. Mm-hmm. Sometimes their agenda is not our agenda. But this is where we get into trouble, and we joke a lot about it, because when we go somewhere, it's either the busiest day of the year, or it's closed.
Today we made an hour drive to Lake Tahoe. We get there, and the state park was closed because of capacity. And like, really? It's 10:30 in the morning? Can't let anybody else in? No, sorry. You're out of luck. We drove miles up and down Lake Tahoe trying to find a beach.
Lots of beaches.
One issue was capacity. The other issue is my big F450 truck is difficult to park in some spaces. So between those two things, we ended up having pizza on.
We did.
Next to the lake. It was good.
We did. We found pizza, and I think that's part of it, is remain flexible. So I do plan a lot for the trips, but then as far as the agendas of when you get there, you can't plan everything, and so I try to leave that a little bit more flexible, which is where sometimes we go on rabbit trails that are closed.
We do, and that kind of segues into the best and worst campgrounds.
Well, why don't you take that, Dave?
So my best campground, doesn't matter where it is, as long as it has 50 amp and sewer and pull through. I love that campground, wherever it may be. I think my favorite was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Carolina Pines.
Carolina Pines, yeah.
Beautiful. I love concrete pads too. I am not a boondocker. I don't like to be out in BLM land and off the grid. That's just not my thing. I know it's a lot of people's things, but it's not my thing. I love sewer. I love water coming in and water going out, and air conditioners on, and my electric water heater working. But and the worst campground's the opposite of that. If they don't have sewer, if there's a lot of dirt, if there's
next week we're going to a campground with 30 amp,
which means I can only run one AC
and no sewer. Good. I
love Navy showers.
I'm going to tell you now, so it's on camera.
All right.
So that's his favorite. The girls will tell you their favorite campground is anything with
a playground
and
a swimming pool. And playgrounds go from really, really nice playgrounds to a slide.
And my favorite campgrounds are the ones with a little bit of a community in it. And so that's kind of funny. You can get there, and if it's all full of seasonals, those are people that live there all the time. So they're not really into getting to know you so well. And then you could have the opposite. You could go to a very busy area and it's all the weekenders, which I love. They're a lot of fun and they're out there with their families. But then they kind of come and go, and you're there for a week, you'd like to get to know someone. So I've really liked going to some campgrounds where other full-time families are, and that's where we've made connections either with our kids or our friends. And that's what I like, is the community.
That pretty much narrows it down to 1,000 Trails Orlando's, where we met most of our
TTO.
friends.
I really have the community, and they do things with the girls, like they had a Valentine's Day party, and
I think we've met most of our families there in 1,000 Trails Orlando and stay in contact with them, and now we're spending time with them this year.
And we've met several of them
Michigan,
out in a couple
Gulf
places.
Shores, Alabama, and some other places that we're going to meet them. So that's
that is one of my favorite campground. Is I did like Gulf Shores.
Gulf Shores. It's
Gulf
a
Shores State Park. Yeah,
wonderful
I did like
place.
that.
All right. So I guess the next question is, what do you do for television and internet? It's always a big one, especially when you have a YouTube channel, you do Instagram, you kind of want to have Wi-Fi. So we're not an ambassador for them. We didn't get it free, but we bought our PepWave system through Mobile Must Have, and you can look them up.
They're fellow full-timers.
Fellow full-timers. So we have a PepWave, and in that it's a router that has 3 different cards in it. We have an AT&T unlimited data and a T-Mobile, which is nearly unlimited data. It's like 100 something a month. I'm not really technical, but T-Mobile works really well at 1,000 Trails Orlando, by the way. And then we have a Verizon card, which is not unlimited by any means, but sometimes Verizon's the only way. So it chooses between these 3
and
systems.
If you had really good Wi-Fi at a campground, which never ever count on that. That's like a unicorn, right?
No, it is.
You could put that in the router too.
Like this campground we're in now said they had really good Wi-Fi, but you can't stream off of it for one thing. So, but the PepWave with one of those 3 services, whether it's AT&T, T-Mobile, or Verizon, we can tend to get on the internet wherever we are. There's a booster on it as well, and we can watch Netflix. And
then our TV is all streaming. We don't have a service.
No, we have. If the campground has cable, I'll plug into that.
And we have the air antenna,
right? We have a digital antenna on top that came with our Solitude, and just about wherever you are, you can get a few channels. But we don't really watch regular TV anymore.
We do, so Netflix,
we watch
Disney
Disney Plus,
YouTube.
YouTube. So
a lot of streaming.
We do a lot of streaming, and that's another bad campground is when you're not in an area where you can get internet at all.
So do you like boondocking? But I think that's a good point when you just bring up Wi-Fi is, if this is something that you're looking at doing, I think a lot of RVers are caught off guard. I think we were too. Like, oh, that's something that's going to be easy to plan. It's not, and you're going to have to spend money. You're going to have to spend money to get the equipment, and then you're going to have to spend money to get services. And so that's something that you're going to need a budget.
That's your budget. And speaking of budget, let's talk about budget. A lot of people ask us, how do you do this and financially, and what's your budget? So
we're independently wealthy.
So we're blessed enough to have corporate jobs. When we were working corporate jobs, we made good money. Thank you very much to my employers. And thank you very much for my upbringing, because I saved money. I saved, I think I did a good job saving. In fact, there were some things that I didn't do in life that I didn't have a lot of toys and multiple houses and those kinds of things. So we have enough money to live off of our investments now. And we bought the rig with the proceeds of our house. So we don't have a mortgage, and we don't
have a payment on this.
We don't owe on this. We're debt free. And speaking of debt free, I am a financial coach with Ramsey's Solutions. So
we have a little bit of that.
I coach people
business
on
consulting,
staying out of debt, and I try to practice what I preach by staying out of debt. So we do that, but we do have costs. So speaking of the internet, that's about $120 a month for our services.
Just for the AT&T.
AT&T's $120 a month for unlimited data, and
we're almost 200-ish between the 3.
$50 a month for the T-Mobile, and $10 a month for the Verizon.
Right.
So you're about $200 for that, but I don't have an electricity bill. I don't have a water bill. I don't have a property tax bill. I don't have a mortgage.
You don't have a TV bill either, so that helps us.
Cable bill.
Cable, yeah.
So all in all, we live on about $5,000 a month.
That includes all our insurance.
All of our insurances. So we already talked about medical insurance costs money. I still have life insurance because I have to protect my family in case I pass away. That's what life insurance is all about. Sometimes Sherryl says I'm worth more dead than alive. That's okay. So we have life insurance payments, and only term life insurance. I don't have any whole life insurance. That's not a good investment. And we have campground fees. We have food. We try to limit our number of times we go out to eat to 1-2 times a week.
Which has gone up about $1.20 a gallon.
Diesel fuel from the time we started 18 months ago to now has gone up significantly as a percentage, especially here in, well, we're not in California now. We were in California last week, and it's about $1.25 more a gallon of diesel. So fuel costs, food costs, electric bike costs, things that we buy. So we're about $5,000 a month with $60,000 a year of expenses, which sounds like a lot, but in the
we don't go out to dinners a lot.
No, once, twice a week. We eat a lot inside, and
then
we still have to buy clothes. You still have to do things. So we've looked at our budget several times, and we're at about $5,000 a month. So $60,000 a year to live this life. But like I said, we don't have any bills. I don't have a mortgage.
And that's for us, and that's our lifestyle. That's how we like to go to full hookup. So we are spending more on campgrounds.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people, and we're not the ones to tell you how to do this. There's a lot of people who probably do it.
We could reduce
for
costs.
less.
We could reduce costs by boondocking, and doing things differently. But
we've chosen not to,
which is categorized as glamping.
Right.
We're at $5,000 a month. So, and that's a lot less expensive than it was when I was living in Bricks and Sticks in Overland Park, Kansas.
Right.
So that's that. I think. Is there any other questions? Are we running towards the end?
We are towards the end. I think we had one more on there. Was you keep missing the good one?
Which one?
The good one that everybody asks us all the time.
That is a tough one. I was trying to avoid it.
Yeah, I saw
I'll
that.
let you answer it. How can
you stand
being
together 24/7?
24/7, 365.
Well, about an hour ago, not well.
Not well. We were
arguing.
Sometimes we argue, believe it or not.
And then we argue about who has the most grace for each other when we're fighting.
Some of my best time is to go to Home Depot or Lowe's or Harbor Freight for an hour or so.
I think having alone time.
Just kind of get away.
Finding alone time, yeah. Or sometimes we'll fight about who will take the girls to the pool or stay behind. Yeah. But
it sounds mushy, but I did marry my best friend, so it is kind of nice to be together all the time. And we do get along 94% of the time.
94%, yeah, 94%.
So
we do get along really well, and I think the carving out alone time helps us re-energize when we need that during the day, when the energy's low. Because then it's like, hey, I have something to talk to you about that you don't know already.
And Sherryl is the example of grace. She has a lot of grace with me. And she does forgive and forget, which is, that's good. We really like that. So she deals with a lot, and we get along well. And
except for there's one time that we don't get along very well.
Oh, when I'm backing up into a spot.
But that's not just us.
So at the end of travel day, when you come into a campground and there's not a pull through, and I have to back in, and I'm not the best backer upper, but I'm getting better.
It's not just us. And we don't care if you watch, but that's not the time to go out and say hello.
It's a lot of stress.
That's normally when we fight.
We finally get in.
And then we make up.
Then we make up. All right. Is that about all?
Yeah, I think that's about it. So, you know what? I want to say, thank you for those who have tuned in and have watched. And we really want to get to know you. And hey, we're out here to help you. So if you're struggling with something, it doesn't have to be in an RV or doing the RV lifestyle, just reach out to us. We'd love to help you. We have our blog website, we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're there, we're very responsive, and we want to hear from you.
Thank you. And we hope you have bright days ahead. That was one take Sherryl there.